#1 podcast coming to you live in America. And today we have the incredible, amazing Mr. Mark Willis. He is a man on a mission, and he is here to help you think differently about your money, your economy, and your future. After graduating with 6 figures of student loan debt and discovering a way to turn his debt into real wealth, he watched everyone, including myself, lose their retirement savings and home equity in 2008. This man realized at that moment he needed to find a more predictable way to meet his financial objectives and those of his clients. Mr. Mark is a certified financial planner, TM. Got to put it in there for legal purposes. A 2-time #1 best-selling author and the owner of Lake Growth Financial Services, a financial firm in Chicago, Illinois. Over the years, he has helped hundreds of clients take back control of their financial future in building custom, tailored financial strategies that are unknown to you, myself, my audience, and most people, most average Americans, and typical stock jockeys, attorneys, or other financial gurus. This man is changing the game. He also co-hosts his own show, the Not Your Average Financial Podcast, and shares some of his strategies for investing in real estate, paying for college without going broke, and creating an income in retirement you won't outlive. So please welcome, with like, hearts, shares, like them if you got them, I am bringing to the stage the incredible, amazing Mr. Mark Willis. Yeah!
Hey. What an intro, Marcus. That's awesome, man. And love the common first name. We got the best gospel name. So rock and roll. Good to be on your show.
Absolutely. Rock and roll. I am loving it. Thank you for being on the show. It is an absolute pleasure to have you. Thank you for coming to the stage. And we appreciate you. My audience appreciates you. I've been looking forward to this all week. So, Mr. Mark, you help people get to a better financial future. I know I read your fabulous bio, but what happened that made you realize that we need to change the financial landscape? What happened? What's your story? I feel like there's a little bit of a story. Can you tell us?
Well, we just had, as we recorded this here today in mid-February, we just went through Groundhog Day a few weeks ago. And the groundhog said 6 more weeks of winter. I'm looking out my window and it's deep snow here in Chicago. So it seems like we as a economy keep having the same day. It's like that movie Groundhog Day over and over and over again. We went through 2020 and it was a massive wake up call to a lot of people when they saw their 401ks get cut by almost 40%, almost 40% gone. But that's not all. We had it happen all over again 11 years ago with the major financial crisis of 2008 and 9. But it didn't start there. Go back to the tech bubble of 2001 and 2, go back to the crash of the late 80s. It just keeps happening. And we seem to have a very short memory. I entered the financial world with 6 figures of student loan debt, no job really to pay off that debt. And in the midst of a great financial crisis, the likes of which the world had never seen, we thought the world was coming to an end, that the dollar, the currency collapse was imminent. And you know what I've noticed, Marcus, is we're not done with volatility. You know, we're entering now 2021, or as some people say, the 14th month of 2020. And this doesn't stop. And the question is going to be, do you want to have happen to you next time what happened to you recently, last time? Because there are better options, but we don't open our eyes. I didn't open my eyes with that there might be another awesome possibility besides the Wall Street casino. So that's sort of where we got our start, was in the midst of the last recession.
That's powerful. And that's significant, right? A lot of people are looking, a lot of my audience are looking for great minds such as yourself, who are taking charge and leading in the forefront, and so that we can hedge those markets. Because just like you said, the history shows that it's going to happen. It's going to happen again. But because we know that, we can prepare. But we need the tools that are in your financial arsenal to get us there. And so I love that. That absolutely makes sense. So, Mr. Mark, why What is bank on yourself? And how might it be the best way, even more so than cash, to make major purchases and grow a large working capital fund for people who are sitting on that excess capital?
Yeah, well, that's a great question. And I know a lot of people have been surprised by the amount of just cash available for them, whether it was through PPP loans or stimulus checks or just profitable business, or their 401ks are looking prettier than we would have maybe expected due to a number of factors with the market being so high right now. There's never been a moment, I think, where the market and the economy are so divorced. It's often said that the stock market's not the economy is not the stock market. Well, that's very true right now with 17 million plus people unemployed. So to your question, bank on yourself is a philosophy and a financial strategy. So let me start with the philosophy first. Now, guys, if you had the choice, and Marcus, I'll just ask you first, if you had the choice to get Tiger Woods golf clubs or Tiger Woods golf swing, which one would you choose to win the championship? The clubs or the swing?
I want his swing.
Yeah. Why is that? Why not the clubs?
Because the clubs are an extension of him, but the years of practice, the expertise, the long hours in training is in his swing.
That's it. That's right. So right. So anything we say after that is probably secondary to what you just said, because it's the mindset, it's the heart, it's the commitment to your own success. And in his case, Tiger's case, it's his long-standing commitment to his success, even through tragedy and trauma and difficulty, to push through and to win championships. Now it's in the swing. It doesn't matter what the club is. Okay. But clubs are also important. If you walked up there with, like a 2x4, he wouldn't probably make the best putt. So we also need good tools, don't we? So the first thing we need to think about is the mindset of the banker. And that's the mindset. That's the swing. When you think like a banker, everything else changes, because banking is something that is like all around us. Now, there's an old phrase, the fish is the last to notice the water. And I would say that most Americans, and I'd say most of the world really, but most Americans don't realize that we're absorbed by the banking industry. A lot of folks pay cash for things. A lot of other folks have that car payment, that mortgage, that student loan, but it's all low interest debts these days, 3%, 5%. What's that? Who cares? I'll just throw a little bit of this, a little bit of that toward that next car loan. But when you add it up, it's the volume that really gets you. And Marcus, you and I, I know this. Whenever I'm eating food, it's not the rate that matters, it's the volume that matters. If I eat super fast or super slow, that's not going to have a big impact on my BMI. But if I just pound, pizza after burger after ice cream, if I eat too much food, I'm going to get big. So the same is true with the volume of our debt. Most Americans might have a low rate of interest on their debts, but it's the volume that kills us. So, with banking, we are in the banking system, even if we are debt-free. And I'll explain this, and then we'll move into bank on yourself. So if you're debt-free and you pay cash for everything, let me ask you a question. How much interest do you earn on your cash after you spend it? How much interest do you earn on cash that you've withdrawn out of your bank account and spent? I'll give you a clue. Yeah, there you go. Right on. 0. Easy math questions on this.
It's always scary to do math live.
Yeah. You're doing great. No trick questions, I promise. So, and then how much interest do you earn on $0? I'll give you another clue here. Zero, right? It breaks compound growth. Every time you spend something, whether it's a cup of coffee or a car, you've broken the opportunity to grow that cash ever again. So my $3 cup of coffee really over my lifetime might cost me $20 because of that power of uninterrupted growth that I'll never see again. Now, we got to buy stuff in life, but those big purchases like cars, vacations, real estate investing, business investments, your children's college funds, my goodness, it's going to be millions of dollars that flow through our hands. And even if you just pay cash for stuff, we're missing the opportunity to grow those dollars, those millions of dollars ever again. That's when you wake up to the fact, when I woke up to the fact that I'm in the banking system. I'm just living in the bank's world. I finally found the water as the fish. And if you can put your money in the right environment, it'll thrive. If you put your fish in the wrong environment, it's going to die. You lay it on the beach, it's not going to last too long. But if you put a fish in a nice temperature-controlled aquarium with a little food in there, man, it's going to thrive. It's going to reproduce. You're going to have little baby fishies floating around in there. That's where you want your money, where it can reproduce and thrive. So that's the mindset of banking, to become your own source of financing. It's better than paying cash because now you're in control. You own the aquarium when you're the banker. When the bank owns your money, when it owns your financial life, you're literally a slave for the amount of time you're working for the interest to cover that interest payment for the mortgage, the credit cards, the car loans. But when you can become your own source of financing, you can finally break free and own the environment where your financial life lives. So that's the swing to become and to think like a banker. Marcus, let me hush for a minute. What does that spark in you when I say to become your own source of financing and to think like a banker?
So I have a little cheat sheet. I was a banker, so I used to work for Wells Fargo, and so my scope of knowledge is a little bit more than normal. But to me, to think like a banker means, as a banker, you get to rub elbows with millionaires because you're handling and holding their money, and it means to also make money the way your banker at your local bank makes money, because the interest rate that you're earning on a checking or savings account is not how banks make money. That's not where their money. They make money on your money and the investment vehicles. If you're not putting your money in anything that's outpacing inflation, which is what banks do, they put your money to work that is out earning the economy around you. And so that's what that means to me, to answer your question.
Yeah. Well, that's so good. I'm so glad you've got that experience. So let's say that you walk into a bank, Marcus, you walk into a bank as a depositor and you hand them 10 grand. So you deposit 10 grand into your savings account, and they're going to give you 0.1% interest. You got to get that magnifying glass out to see that interest rate. Now, how much of that $10,000 do you think they have to keep at the bank? Well, I'll go ahead and tell you. 0%. As of 2020, none of your money is at the bank. 0. Last year, 2019, it was about 10%. So they'd keep $1,000 of your 10 grand would be at your bank. Everything else, as of 2020, yeah, mind blown is exactly right. Yeah. The rest of my hair just fell out. So we got 2020 now, the reserve requirements of banks. Go check this out. Type in fractional reserve banking 2020 into search engines. And you throw 10 grand into a bank. What do they do with that money? They give you a penny's worth of interest. And then let's say I walk in behind you in line and I ask for a loan at that same bank. Well, whose money are they going to give me? They're going to give me Marcus's cash, right? And I'm going to be charged 10% or whatever. I'm 18 or whatever percent rate on my loan. They're going to make a massive amount of arbitrage on that because I'm getting charged interest. You're getting paid almost nothing. And whose money was it? Was it the bank's money? Nope. It was your money. And the banks know this. That's why even in such low interest rate environments, banks are making a killing. That's why they're the largest buildings in town. And they are the, largest lobbyists on Washington. I mean, but we could go on and on. But, what is the reality? The reality is we can take back control of the banking function. Banking is not a problem. Banking is just is. It's just a verb. The problem is the noun. Who is your banker? If you got the wrong person behind the banker's desk, you're going to lose. But if you're the banker, holy smokes, you can win. It's by default, you win. Okay, so we can finally get to the golf clubs now if you want to, Marcus, but had to talk about the swing first. What are your thoughts?
My thoughts are we have to take a quick commercial break. We have to reset the room. So don't you guys go anywhere. You can already see the level of impact. He is changing live. Mr. Mark Willis, CEO, founder of Lake Group Capital. We'll be right back.
I'm Marcus Norman, bringing fresh vibes to hot topics surrounding culture, relationships, business, finance, sex, dating, faith, and everything in between. Whether you're into passive income opportunities, trending topics and useful relationship tips, or dynamic guest speakers, there's something for everyone. You can expect all that and more every week. If you're down with this content, then consider joining our growing community by subscribing to Gentleman Style Podcast and smash the bell to get on our VIP list. Your support means the world. Thanks for watching. Link to my channel.
Hey everybody, we are right back. Told you, and we have the incredible, the amazing, the super fragilistic expialidocious Mr. Mark Willis of Lake Group Capital. And this man, he just walked us through and put it in great example of what do you want? Do you want the Tiger? Which one would you prefer? The Tiger Woods swing or Tiger Woods' clubs in relationship to your financial structure of your household? And we just walked through that. He just took us through the example of the swing. Now he's going to take us through the clubs. And Mr. Mark Willis. So my thoughts on that is I still feel the same way. I want the Tiger Woods' swing, and I want to make money, and I want my money to make money the way my banker makes money.
Yeah, it's the difference between a financial headwind coming right at you and a financial tailwind giving you a boost. If you've tried to run into a hurricane, you're not going to win, but if you got the wind of a hurricane at your back, well, you can make some terrific time running or flying an airplane. That's just it's the difference of, I can't overemphasize it. I almost don't care what your alternative investments, 401ks, paper assets, real estate, doesn't matter what the rate of return is if you don't control the banking function. But how do you do that? How do you go? Let's bring it down the ladder now. How do you get to where you can become your own source of financing? Well, there's about 450 places, Marcus, that you can put your cash. And, I don't know about you, but when I was going through my CFP training, it was overwhelming just keeping up with all those options. So my thought was, all right, I wanted something I could use where my money would be available to me, accessible to me without penalties or taxes due, because I might need it, for goodness sakes. I wanted it to be growing at a predictable rate that would beat inflation. I could not handle just 0.001% interest on my savings accounts anymore. I wanted to be able to take control of the banking function. So I needed something that would let me do that. And I didn't know what was possible or out there. But we looked at everything: annuities, real estate, dynastic trusts. The list went on and on. But whole life insurance, of all things, not the old stuff, but a more modern form of high cash value, dividend paying whole life insurance, met all those requirements for us. So I'll explain what that is in just a minute. But for nickname's sake, we call it a bank on yourself type whole life insurance policy, designed the way the Bank on Yourself Revolution book talks about by Pamela Yellen. So what this does is it builds a death benefit. It's life insurance after all. But for the purposes of using the life insurance during our lifetime, this side of heaven, it allows you to build up wealth, significant wealth, massive amounts of cash value that's your cash. It's liquid money, meaning in the first month, in the first 3 months, in the first year, in the first 5 years, you've got a significant cash accumulation that you can use for any purpose. You could use it to pay off an old debt. You could use it to invest in real estate. You could use it to go to Hawaii or fix up your kitchen or send your kid to college. There's no prohibited transaction. And you've got a absolute guaranteed increase of your cash every year. Now it's accessible money. Just like a banker, you can go to the vault, grab that cash. You're the banker. You own that cash value. It's your money. You could walk out with that cash. It's not a bank robbery when the bank's owner is getting cash out of the vault. Okay. You're the banker there. Now, one more cool feature to this is it is usable as a bank. It's not an FDIC insured bank, of course, we've got to say that, but you can borrow against the life insurance cash value, and it will continue to function and grow and earn interest as if there was no loan. So Marcus, let me kind of walk that out for a minute. Yeah, think about that for a minute. If I've got $100,000 in cash value, and I want to borrow, just sitting there, growing at middle single digits, 4, 5, 6%. Nice and boring. We like it that way. So we borrow that money out and go put it to work. Let's say we go get a piece of real estate. Now our policy continues to grow at 5 whatever percent interest, and we have the 30 grand out there doing whatever it's going to do, buying that real estate, getting cash flow, getting tax advantages of real estate. Now our money's doing 2 things at once.
Wait.
Control the entire process.
Wait a minute. Hold up. Stop the bus. I wish I had some sound effects because I would put some screeching noises on there. You're telling me that my cash value life insurance policy, I can take that cash, I can access that cash, invest it in some real estate, and still earn interest on that money in the policy as if it never left.
That's right. Precisely.
That's what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yep. Now tell me anything else that has that kind of combination of power for banking and guarantees. Now, I'll tell you this too, Marcus, there is something most of your listeners already have that does exactly this. And that is your home mortgage. If you own a house, you already get this. Think about it. Let's say your house is worth 300 grand. And let's say you have a $200,000 mortgage on that house. Now, is your home appreciating in the neighborhood? Let's say it was. Okay, let's just say it was 4% a year or whatever. Does the home grow on the full value of the home or just the equity in the home? Well, it grows. Zillow does not care if you have a mortgage on your house or not. It grows on the entire value of the home, 300 grand. So your home is growing even on the portion of your home that's been loaned against. And the same is true with whole life insurance. If it's designed correctly, your policy will grow even on the cash you borrow out. It's not magic, but it feels like it when you start to borrow against it. I'll tell you a quick story and then I'll hush. I used my policies pretty early on to go on a wonderful month-long trip. We went to Hawaii. It was amazing. And while we were there, we got dividend statements showing us that we had gotten a full cash dividend on our policies, even the amount that we had borrowed out to go on that wonderful vacation. That is a no-guilt vacation, Marcus. So any thoughts, feedback on that? I know it's mind-blowing. I know it's almost too good to be true.
This is too good to be true. And it is mind-blowing because this is stuff, this financial coaching isn't discussed anywhere. Your banker, our banker, my banker isn't talking about this. I was not taught to talk about this when I worked at Wells Fargo. And your banker, my audience, your banker is not trained or financially equipped to talk about this. And so that's where Mr. Mark at Lake Growth Capital is Lake Growth is trained to talk about. Remember, he's a certified, and he's being humble because he's not putting the designator out there. He's a certified financial planner. And so that is at the end of his name. I always tell people these days, I don't care what's in the front of your name. So doctorate, doctor, that doesn't really say much to me. It's what's after your name. So Esquire, CFP, MSP, and all those designators after his name, those bear weight because that is hours of intense training, education. And he also, when you get your doctorate, you don't have to go back to school. When you are licensed and certified in something, he has to go every 2 years?
That's right. Every year. Yeah. Every year we have continuing education requirements. It's not a small deal. It took me 3+ years to get the designation, and then they keep you coming back for more. I must be a glutton for punishment.
But that is what you get. You get someone who is educated and continuously growing. A doctor could go to be a doctor today, and if he's not practicing in the field in that doctorate, then that's the end of that. That's the end of that story. Mr. Mark and his team are continuously learning, and they're evolving, and they're applying new financial strategies. Because when you get Mr. Mark, you can tell us for yourself, when they come and get that policy with you, is it a one and done, right? Or is there some follow-up with you to make sure that you're
Yeah, we have a regular ongoing. Just before this, I was speaking with one of our wonderful clients out in the beautiful East Coast of the United States. And we were just discussing some of their strategies for how they're going to use several of these policies. They've got 3 set up. They're planning for more, and they're using it for real estate investing and to help them get ready for a tax-free retirement in their future. They're one of my favorite people to chat with, but we have hundreds of clients all across the country. And I just love the ongoing relationship and coaching. Yeah. Back to Tiger Woods, you're the guy with the club and the swing. I'll just be your caddy. I'll help you out, give you some guidance here and there, which club to pick, whatever. And we have several advisors. In fact, Brandon, I believe, is on this call right now, or on this deal right now. So, hey, Brandon. Hey, Amanda. They're 2 more amazing, smarter than me at this strategy. And, a lot of the folks that work with us have just absolutely life-changing moments when they realize that they could control their financial outcomes. Because before that, what do we have? We have non-guaranteed Wall Street paper assets that we have to basically hope and pray that the market will go up and we sell at the right times. I don't know about you, Marcus, but I wasn't born with a crystal ball in my hand. I don't know what the futures of the market's going to bring. But man, when you got guaranteed cash accumulation and you can access that money for any reason, and you got a good team player on your side like me or Brandon or Amanda or Sari or any of the other 200 plus bank on yourself professionals around this country, you can pretty well sleep well at night that things are going to be pretty well okay. And I like that.
I love that. I absolutely love that. And 200 plus banker and yourself professionals. We've had Mr. Brandon and Amanda on the show previously. And thank you, Brandon, for tuning in. I appreciate you, brother. One more question, because everyone is talking about it. Everyone's on this debt-free kick, right? Everyone's on the debt-free. My audience always talk about, we need to get debt-free. I need to pay off this credit card. I need to pay off this car, student loan. But you actually help your clients get to something that's beyond debt-free. How is it possible to be better than debt-free?
Yeah, great question, Marcus. The problem with being debt-free is all we are is basically poor. All right. So once you've paid off that debt, what do you have? You have $0 in your bank account. When I was crawling and scratching my way to get back up to net zero and just paying that debt, it was a massive payment to get out of the debt we were in. All I was ever hopeful for was that I could get back to $0 net worth and finally call up our friend on the radio and scream, "I'm debt free."
Dave Ramsey.
Yeah.
Whoops.
You know who I was talking about. You know that. Yeah. Yeah. So Mr. Dave has a whole industry built around that concept. Well, please tell me, they're called baby steps. And please tell me, if you want to live your life taking baby steps, you're not going to go very far. Now, I want a marathon. I want an adventure. I want something better than net zero on my balance sheet. So what's better than debt-free? What's better than debt-free? Being the bank is better than debt-free. And here's the cool part. Even before you pay off your debts, you can buy them back. You can buy back your debt. That's what we did with our student loans. That's what we help folks do with their credit cards, their car loans, their mortgages, their doctorate. If you've got a debt, what's better than just paying it off? It's profiting from that debt. It's like financial jujitsu, Marcus. You take the weight of your opponent, what's coming at you, the problem coming at you, that debt, you make it part of your action. You make it part of your solution. And if you can become the source of financing, if you can buy back your debt, it surprises the lender when you call them up and say, "Hey, guess what? I'm borrowing from my life insurance policy, and I'm going to wipe you guys out right now. I'm going to buy this loan off." And now you've got remember, the policy is still growing like you hadn't touched the cash. So if you had let's say you had a $30,000 car loan, and let's say you had a $30,000 cash value, you borrow against the life insurance, wipe out the car loan. Now your loan against the policy is to yourself, and the earned interest on that cash value is growing like you hadn't touched the money, like you hadn't taken the loan out. And here's one more fun fact about the loans. When you borrow from this policy, again, it grows like you hadn't touched it. We've talked about that, Marcus. But one thing I didn't mention is you control how much you want to repay on that loan. You could pay $25 a month. You could pay nothing. You could pay $500 a month. It's your decision. You're the guy that decides how and when and how fast and if you pay off the loan. If you never pay off the loan, it's just going to get deducted from your death benefit when you pass away. So the insurance company doesn't care. They don't need the cash next Tuesday. They're not going to repo your car. They're not going to call you at dinner time. But you've solved the debt problem. In fact, you made debt part of your solution. And that's what I mean when I say better than debt free.
So let me get this straight. You can, if you have 30,000. Now, I don't want y'all to miss this. He just said, you have $30,000 in cash value. That doesn't mean death benefit, y'all. So I don't want anyone to miss this. The death benefit is separate from the cash value. So you can have $30,000 in cash value, but have a $500,000 death benefit. And that's what Mr. Mark is explaining, that if you borrow from yourself, bank on yourself, that $30,000 that was already yours, and you decide to never pay it back, upon your death, they'll just subtract 30,000 from 500,000.
Your family's going to have to struggle along on 470 grand, and you'll be on to better things, and they'll have the car, with the title. So, it's a great strategy. Yeah.
Woe is me. I'm sure that they'll be traumatic. Oh my gosh.
That's right.
Give me a nice send off. Mr. Mark, right. How can my audience connect with you and connect with what you're doing and changing lives, and you and your team?
Well, I gotta up my should have worn a suit and tie to this gentleman style podcast, my friend. So thank you for upping my game. Thank you. Best place for folks to check us out is bit.ly. So that's bit.ly/boy retire. Bank on yourself, retire. Great little landing page there where you can meet me, get to know us. We have an online community where you can meet Marcus and I. We're both on there, along with Brandon and tons of other awesome superstars. I just try to keep up with the cool kids like Marcus and more on that website. You can also schedule a 15-minute meeting with me or Brandon or any other number of our wonderful esteemed colleagues and chat with us if you want. We also do a weekly podcast, but it's all at that one website, bit.ly. So it's bit.ly/boy retire.
I love that. So y'all, please check him out. I'm also a subscriber to his podcast. He's on iTunes, on YouTube as well. So please check him out. We must uplift this man and get him out, because as you know, the stock market isn't going to do it. Your 401k isn't enough. 401ks are practically all over the place. The economy has no idea what to do now. That's why people are going to Dogecoin and Bitcoin and we have no idea what we're doing. So to get that professional, that certified professional, check out Mr. Mark and schedule that consultation and get connected with his team and get a plan in place. Mr. Mark, I thank you, brother. I appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule to be on the show today. And I hope my audience, I thank you all for tuning in to the Gentleman Style Podcast show. I appreciate this, and I appreciate you all taking time out of your Saturday to come support the channel and to tune in to Mr. Mark Willis and the Gentleman Style Podcast platform. We are on iHeartRadio, Spotify, iTunes, LinkedIn, Facebook, and anywhere social media can be played. So like I got to give him back, y'all. I got to give him back. He got financial plans to make.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Oh, and dinner. Don't forget that.
He's a family man.
Yeah.
So right. Like I always say, y'all, thank you for tuning in today. Like I always say, take care of your friends, take care of your family, and take care of business. This is Marcus Norman of Gentleman Style Podcast and Mr. Mark Willis of Lake Growth Capital signing off. Love you guys. Bye.